Hello and welcome, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on wherever you're watching us from. And welcome to a special edition at the NorthStar Café in commemoration of International Women's Day 2023. I'm your host, Meenakshi, founder and principal of NorthStar Solutions and Services. And with me is my event and conference co-host and dear friend, Tiffany Castagno. Tiffany,
Thanks, Meenakshi. Thanks for hosting us here at the NorthStar Café. I'm so excited to be here on this Friday. So I'm Tiffany Castagno, and I'm founder and CEO of Zephyr LLC, which is an HR consulting firm based in Pittsburgh, supporting founders, nonprofits, and for-profits across the U.S., small businesses and medium businesses with building their infrastructures, teams, and cultures.
fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Tiffany. And we have this is a special event to sort of do a preview of our upcoming event. And we have several of our speakers in the green room here, and we're going to bring them all together in just a few minutes. And we wanted to take a moment to talk about what we are doing and why we're doing this, and I'll give you a little bit of the background. So first of all, NorthStar Cafe is a space, it's a live stream space that I host once every other week to have real action-oriented conversations on leadership development, particularly at the intersection of people, process, and technology. And a lot of the work that I do at NorthStar Solutions and Services as a personal agility, self-leadership, and change leadership coach is to support mid-career technology leaders, women in tech, and folks like myself who speak English as an additional language in helping them become impactful people and change leaders. And it is with that in mind that 4 years ago now, I started this whole, I would say an experiment, and I was too scared to call it a conference. I called it a webinar series to talk about the future of work, the fourth industrial revolution and the future of work. And then just within a few months of that, Tiffany and I met and we hit it off, and we found so much common ground and so many intersections in the work that we do. And I invited Tiffany to join me as a co-host, and I was over the moon when she said yes. And we've been doing this together for the last 3 years now. Yay. And this is exciting. And we have really to be in sync with the communities and the clients that we serve. We also made the strategic decision of making this an International Women's Day event since 2021. And in the last couple of years, we have talked about the power of the female perspective in 2021, against the backdrop of the pandemic and the world experiencing shutdowns, both physical and in all senses. And we talked about how women are at the receiving end of most of those scenarios. And then last year, we talked about women shaping the pandemic pivot. And all along the way, we've had inspiring talks and presentations. And I think for us, this is really about building a global community to not only just talk about issues that concern most of us, if not all of us, but also to leave our attendees feeling inspired, connected, and engaged, and creating opportunities for us to take meaningful actions as a result of these conversations. So it is very important for us, both Tiffany and I, that we create these inclusive spaces and that the conversations always lead to some action, some meaningful action. And so for us this year, as we launch our conference happening in just 12 days from today, so the countdown is on, we wanted to get all of us together, including several of our speakers, to give you a preview. So if you haven't already bought your ticket, you know what to do next. And
call to action.
Yes. And right now we are going live on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And so you can watch us on any of the channels that you're subscribed to. And if not, do that as well. Since I've said a whole bunch of words, I'm going to take a pause and invite Tiffany to talk about just a preview of how she got involved and what she's looking forward to in this conference.
Thank you so much for that invitation, Meenakshi. I am very excited to for us to kick this fourth year of Your Future of Work virtual conference off alongside our third International Women's Day Connected conference. And so I'm just really grateful. I always describe you as a 2020 gift. In fact, a couple of our speakers are as well. And so definitely grateful to have met you, to have joined forces. Thank you for the ask of asking me to join this. It has been so meaningful to my life and in connecting us deeper in community, both individually and collectively. And I'm just grateful that we're able to really hear live feedback after the conferences are over about what this meant to people, because it continues to fuel the fires to continue moving forward, to really be excited about this. And we both have stories on burnout. And so we're really excited this year to talk about that. And we're both very called to action in terms of tangible takeaways, strategies, so that people don't feel like, oh, I just came to this conference and now what next? And so that's a value we share. We've developed this beautiful friendship in the meantime. And so I'm looking forward to learning some things myself, to sitting in community, meeting folks from a global community, to hearing from these fire speakers that we have, to being a part of all of what our sponsors from tech to everything else are offering. And it's just the commitment that these speakers have made to us too, and to communities, their own communities, but the larger community is, I just can't even put into words what that means. And so I'm so excited for you all to meet them, and just thank you all for agreeing to say yes to this opportunity to fight burnout together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And with that, we're going to bring in several of our speakers on just now. So just give us a few minutes. And in the meantime, if you're watching us live, pop in the chat and let us know where you're joining us from and what you're looking forward to in this conference. So here we go.
It's a party!
Absolutely.
Hi!
Good to see you all.
Lovely to have all of you
Hi,
here.
everybody.
Hi there. So glad to be here.
Oh, wow.
Good to be here.
I'm humbled by just being in the same room as all these great people.
This is fantastic. Thank you so much. And, we really wanted to hear from all of you, our speakers. First of all, thank you for saying yes, and thank you for your time to do this today, and all the support that all of you have been giving us in your respective social media channels and throughout in the planning of this event. And over the last 3 years, Tiffany and I have learned several lessons along the way, and we are in a constant inspect and adapt mode. And so this year, we are very happy and we're very proud of the work that the two of us have put in. We started our planning back during the holiday season in December, and Brandy, who several of you have met in another live stream conversation a few weeks ago, she's our keynote speaker. We were able to confirm her availability and her presence for the conference right even before the new year started. And that's something we have not done in the last 2 years. So we're very proud of that we were able to put all this together. And our marketing material was ready, I think, in the first week of January. Mm-hmm. And given that this is one of the things that we do in addition to our day jobs, we are mighty proud of what we've done. And we are extremely grateful for all of you for sharing your time and your wisdom so generously with all of us. And I did want to say one more thing, that every year, and particularly so in the last 2 years, Tiffany and I have had several conversations around pay equity. And so it is very important to us that we make every possible attempt to pay our speakers. And we are very transparent with all of you about it. We are continuing to keep our efforts on in that area. And we are hoping that we will be in a position to monetarily compensate you for your time and the work that you're doing for us as well. So that is our continued hope. So we shall see how it all works out. Having said all that, I'm just going to go down the way everybody shows up on my screen. So I'd love to kick off with Angelina, if you can talk to us about what made you say yes to this event, and what are you focusing on in your segment?
Yeah, of course. So forgive me, I'm dealing with a little bit of a head cold today. So I met Tiffany, I think you said the gifts of 2020. It was a gift that I met her in 2020 because we got connected, we kept in touch. And then every single week I host a space for people to come together and consciously take a break. So I host a midday breathing break. I have a background in health sciences and yoga, meditation, mind, body, in addition to other things. But that's a space where I'm trying to come and hold space for people to learn how to self-regulate. Basically bring their nervous system back into balance in the middle of their day, because most people get to lunch and they're kind of frazzled and they're trying to do a million different things and take care of themselves. So Tiffany has been one of my earliest supporters of that space. And she asked if I would mind coming and teaching some of the things that we're doing on Wednesday. And I was like, didn't even think about it. I was like, absolutely, I would love to. And burnout is a topic that's very near and dear to me because I've had a couple of my own run-ins with that professionally. So it's serious. It's very disruptive to your life. And I think people that are in service to really helping others understand how to work through that. I want to be part of anything that is helping others to really grow and move through that. So that was a big reason why I said yes.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And Tiffany, I'd love for you to share a little bit more about what we had in mind and how we have designed Angelina's workshop.
Yes, I'm just over the moon. Thank you so much for saying yes to this. As Meenakshi and I were planning, I'm like, we have to have Angelina. We have to, because I spend these 20 minutes every week as I can doing breath work with her. We spent some time a couple of days ago. And so it's so important. We forget to breathe as we're running around doing all the things. And the power of the pause, as Meenakshi always says, and just slowing down is so impactful. And so I'm just grateful that you're sharing that. And so what we've kind of designed is to have this throughout. So Angelina does workshops. She's a public speaker and can do that, but she also does all this beautiful breath work. So we have designed it so that there's a little bit of workshop for her, but then throughout these practices that we can all have throughout our day, if we have 5 minutes, because again, they're meant to be tangible. And so that we can, not only recognize what's happening with our body, including our breath, but then that we can say, okay, I'm aware, I'm really attuned to this, and then have strategies to recover so that hopefully we prevent it going forward. So we're really looking forward to having you kick us off at the top of the conference and throughout. And I'm excited for what this is going to do for folks. So thank you so much for saying yes and for the expertise you'll bring to the conference.
Thank you. The feeling is very mutual.
Yes, and thanks to Tiffany, I was able to meet Angelina as well, and we've had a wonderful conversation, and we're looking forward to keeping that up. And that's the other piece of this. For us, the intention for us to hold this conference every year is to really build community. And by doing so, in putting all this work that we do for the conference, we enrich each other's individual and collective networks. And we love bringing speakers and panelists like yourselves together. And every single year we have found that there are connections that are built during this. And that's very important to us, which is also one of the reasons why we really aim for a boutique conference. It's we limit it at 100 to 150 max in the Dunbar's number, if you will. And that's something we're intentional about. So for us, it's not about having it's the number of attendees or 500,000. That's not our goal, really. For us, it's important that people that come are intentional and that they actually find the space to build those connections. For us, I think even if every person walks away with one meaningful connection after the event, that's what we're looking for. And so it's a very thoughtfully designed event, and we put a lot into it, and so do our speakers and panelists like yourselves. So next, I would like to invite the panelists. So we are doing a panel on navigating burnout in virtual hybrid environments, and our three panelists are Lakshmi, Brian, and Satpal. And I'd like to start it off with Satpal, who's joining us from across the pond.
I am. Lovely to see you again.
Likewise.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm delighted to be doing this, and good to meet the rest of you too. How could I say no to you, Meenakshi? Is probably the short answer. This is a hugely important topic, one that I'm also talking about in other forums. I'm involved in a number of different pursuits alongside my day job in the UK financial services sector. A lot of what I do is across large communities of engineers, and you're talking about hybrid and virtual working. The problem of burnout is real. I think Angelina said it in her introduction. I've also, had my own brushes with it. It's a very serious thing, and it can be difficult to recover from. We also live in this very always on, always connected world. And I think that's part of the problem. It's very difficult for us to switch off. It's very difficult for us to unplug. And I think it's a serious health risk. So yeah, I'm really pleased that we're talking about it, that you're drawing attention to it. And I'm only too happy to support the conversation and share my own perspectives, because I think it's something that's not going to go away. I think we learned a lot over the last few years with the global pandemic as well. Most of us suffered in our own ways, and I think we need to see each other through it by learning from each other's perspectives and trying to find ways to cope and unplug from the matrix, as it were. And I think it's really important that we learn from each other's perspectives. So very pleased to be part of this conversation alongside such amazing speakers and panelists.
Thank you so much, Satpal. So that's the other beauty of this. Most of us, I think, I know that with the exception of Tiffany, I don't think I haven't met any of you in person. And these are all connections built via LinkedIn and other forums. We might have met at other forums, but then we connected on LinkedIn and we've kind of stayed in touch. And so that's the beauty of this. And I think to me, the way we do this is practical evidence and proof of the future work and how things can still get done, and meaningful work, impactful work can still get done. So Satpal, I know that we probably met a couple of years ago, maybe through the Agile communities, and I know that you've also been one of our guest speakers for the mentorship program that I run through NorthStar, Building My Runway, which, by the way, was an offshoot of the conference 2 years ago. So I love it when all these things come together. So it's our honor to have you as one of our panelists. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that. And next, I'd love to invite Brian. I know Brian has also been our past speaker. So
thanks, Meenakshi. Thanks for having me again this year. So why did I join? Well, first and foremost, you asked, and I love being part of the energy of your conferences, the learning. I look forward to learning with and from all of you, and the connection with the people that show up that are like-hearted, wanting to create better together. And so in my work around human-centered leadership and focusing on creating better together, there's been probably no more important topic than burnout over the past couple of years. And there's been some personal experience that I'll share in the conference, both my own and then helping someone else navigate through a burnout situation. And it gets back to self-awareness, understanding your needs, and self-leadership, and kind of focusing on self and being in a place where you have that awareness for yourself. So then you can show up and with others with compassion, with curiosity, with an opportunity to truly be present with someone else, and be curious about what they may need, and noticing, hey, they're a little bit off, and truly connecting and understanding the human being behind the worker, behind the producer, and or if it's with a family member, behind, whoever's the person's role is in your life. We're focusing on the workplace, but I believe the person shows up in both places, and it's the same person that we've got to connect to. So it's really about, for me, an opportunity to share stories and knowledge and wisdom from these wonderful speakers and panelists, and from the attendees, so that we can learn and broaden our knowledge and broaden our perspectives. So again, that the focus on creating better together happens when we broaden the scope through which, and the lens through which we look at life and the challenges that we may face, and embrace equity and the differences. And it's hard to do that if you're not at a point where you have that awareness of self and what your needs are, and then have the courage to make requests and ask for what you need. And so I'll leave it right there, and then I'll pass it back to Meenakshi. But honored to again be joining Meenakshi and Tiffany and you all for this conference, and I look forward to being with you on the 15th.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brian. We remember your contributions from the last time you were on the conference, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So we are so appreciative of you joining us back again. I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
Yes, thanks for joining.
Yeah. I'm going to bring in Lakshmi, and after that, Tiffany, I'll pass it back to you to bring in the other two speakers.
Sounds good.
Over to you, Lakshmi.
Well, I just wanted to start by saying thank you so much, and I'm really honored to be here. Thank you for asking. I don't know if I'm, qualified or an expert at this. I'm more learning from everyone else, and I think my perspective is really around human sustainability. And as an organizational coach, I see that organizations get into almost that churn of delivery and forget that we're humans and we need to treat each other well, and create that safe space for us to be who we are and ask for our needs, and be able to be, mindful of each other's needs and work well together. So from that perspective, I have been sort of chasing sustainability, realizing that you can't really chase it, you have to embrace it. And so I think burnout is something that I've experienced myself, and I sort of misunderstood what burnout was. I thought that it was really about overworking, but there's so many angles to burnout. It's also about understanding if you're doing valuable work and things that excite you. So I think coming back to how do you create a better organization that has a culture where we can learn together, we can grow together, and be vulnerable together, it all comes back to human sustainability. So I want to share some perspectives and stories that I see in our organization, what we're trying to do while navigating burnout. And obviously we're all in this together, and really excited to be here and to learn from all of you as well.
Thank you so much for that, Lakshmi. And I know that you are doing a couple of things for us. One is you're one of the panelists on the panel discussion, and then you and Anjali will be hosting. So would you like to share a little bit about Hit Refresh?
Sure, yeah. So Hit Refresh, again, I'm just blessed to have folks like Meenakshi, Tiffany, and Anjali in my circle, because then they invite me into things and I can't say no. So Anjali started this community, event called Hit Refresh, and it's something that started out of this need to bring people together and to pause in the middle of the week. So it's something we do every couple of weeks on a Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific and 12 p.m. Eastern. And it's really meant to be a way for you to come and hit refresh, right? And we have multiple practices. Sometimes they're high energy, sometimes they're calming and guided meditation type practices. Sometimes we do coloring, but it's really to make it okay to pause in the middle of your day and to make it accessible, because it is really simple. Just like we were talking about, all of these practices are something we can try. And even if you do it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you see a lot of benefits. And it's just a way for you to come back and reconnect with yourself and center yourself. Could be something like deep breathing that you do before a high stakes discussion, things like that you just have these tools available to you. So it's been really joyful. And again, I couldn't say no to Anjali. I said, well, let's do it. And I had no idea what we were going to do. And I said, well, I need all of this myself. So it's been a great way for me to be involved, to stay mindful of what we need to do and how simple these practices are, and how we just forget that, they're so accessible. So, and in fact, my husband always jokes about it too. And he's like, well, it's funny, you're part of all of these things, but you need it the most. I'm like, well, that's why I'm part of it, because I need it.
Don't we all? Don't we all? Thank you for sharing that. And what really struck me is how aligned each of what you've shared, each of your stories and what you're bringing to the conference, how aligned it is with what Tiffany and I always want out of these events, which is to empower help individuals feel empowered. Yeah. I find the word empower a bit tricky, I would say, because I think each of us has all of the power inherently. I think it's just we need reminders about that, so that we find creative ways to get out of the victim mentality, and ensure that we actively engage with our own lives and careers and find ways to regain our sense of agency. And so all of you, that's what you're bringing to the table. You're making concepts and practices around burnout prevention and recovery, and even recognition of burnout, so accessible at an individual level. Because burnout, there's this big debate out there whether it's an organizational, institutional problem or an individual problem, and each party tends to treat it like it's the other person's problem, right? But at the end of the day, we as individuals do have what it takes to overcome this and take care of ourselves. So that's what came up for me as I heard each of you share your perspectives and what you're going to bring to the conference. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to pass it off to my co-host, Tiffany.
Thank you. And I apologize if I'm playing like Jedi mind tricks with y'all. I accidentally kicked myself out of the live stream while trying to do something else. So now I'm, it's keeping everybody on their toes. But I'm loving this conversation and the common threads that are coming through. I love the congruency between like Angelina's workshops and what she does with breath work, and the hit refresh that you shared, Lakshmi, that you and Anjali will be doing. Just there's so much. Thank you for sharing your personal stories. And I can't wait for people to hear more about it at the conference. So I'm going to go next to one of my other partners, Janifer Wheeler, to talk about. Janifer is going to be doing a workshop on burnout. So she's one of our workshop facilitators as well. And I will tell you, I've been through one of these and I was like, whoa, like this is amazing. And I know she's refreshed it even more. So we're in for even more of a treat. But Janifer, you want to tell us what you're excited for, what people should expect, and a little sneak peek of your conference nuggets here?
Well, hello, everyone. I am excited to participate because I, like others, was gifted Tiffany through COVID. We found ourselves and made a connection, and we have just stayed in contact for all this time. And, we've developed a friendship. And so if she asks me for something, girl, I got your back. So it was my pleasure and my honor to say yes. And because I also burned out, y'all, we've got a common thread here. I was a elementary school teacher and was burning out. I didn't realize that I was burning out. So what I've come to understand is that burnout is very sneaky. And most of the time we don't even know that we are in burnout until it's so bad that we have no other option but to pay attention. That was my experience. And so the teacher in me wants to teach and educate other people around what burnout looks like, about where it comes from. I'm a huge advocate that burnout is not your fault. Now, obviously, your own actions and behaviors can contribute or, mitigate. But at the same time, this is from society. So, it's not just our own attitudes or inability to manage our lives and all the things that we're trying to do. It is society's viewpoint that we should be constantly busy, constantly doing something. And then we wind up with these to-do lists that are completely unmanageable. We have so many things on our plate, we don't even know what to start with. So then we may find ourselves in fight, flight, or freeze. Just nothing. No, yeah, listen when it's a feather, because I was hit by the bus and I had to just quit and leave teaching. So I want to help people not get to that point, to understand the root causes of burnout, what you can do about it. And it is all about self-awareness. So if you don't know yourself, you can't recognize when things are out of alignment. You know, I often use the analogy that for many of us, we're very attuned to every single noise our car makes. We can even recognize a problem in another car if we hear it driving down, you know, that's driving near us. But in our own lives, sometimes we're kind of oblivious to what we are actually dealing with. And again, I think it's because we have so many things to do. And I'm thrilled to speak about this. I recently launched an app called the JOYFull Bad app, which has all of my training and courses in it so that busy people can have a productivity coach right there in their pocket. Because for a lot of people, when I was burning out, if you had said, I've got a workshop on burnout, I don't know that I would have come. I would have felt like I had too many things to do. That's just me, though, because I was a teacher. And believe me, there's 9,000 things to do every 5 minutes. But I wanted to provide an opportunity that would be easy access so that when you are in those moments, you can find some support and some resources, because I didn't have that. And that's why I do what I do and why I'm so happy to be here on this conference, sharing some of my knowledge and experience with the hope that someone can benefit from it and use it and find it valuable.
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you so much. I feel like we're having a mini conference right now, and I'm just like so jazzed up. I appreciate it. That app is pretty amazing too, because I got to beta test. So definitely have seen the other side of it. So wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Janifer. And we're excited for what you'll bring for the rest of the conference. And now I'll go to Lauren Lefkowitz, who is going to be Meenakshi and I's. We're a trio in a fireside chat for the conference, and we will be sharing our individual stories about burnout. I know that we've all been very vocal just in this moment here that we've all had together. So we see that that's a common thread, unfortunately, for all of us, but presents a unique opportunity for us all to share with others and to support others. So Lauren, what is it you're looking forward to? And without telling your whole burnout story, because we know that we'll share that later, tell us a little bit of a preview about what excited you and how you came to be toasty and warm fireside with us.
Thank you, Tiffany. I'm so excited to be involved in this conference and honored to be sitting alongside Tiffany and Meenakshi during the fireside chat. My interest in burnout is also personal, right? Where there's this whole group of us sitting here, fortunately, unfortunately, having had the experience of burnout. The fortunate side is that now we get to talk about it. And you can see under my name that my tagline is "Fine as a Trap." And someone said at the beginning of the conversation, we forget to pay attention. And that's what fine is. We justify that things are fine, everything's fine, we're fine, it's fine. And it's not. And we need to do that to sort of self-soothe ourselves when we're falling into burnout or dissatisfaction. For me, we'll tell the whole story during the fireside chat. But for me, my big throw down to the ground that told me that I was in burnout and something needed to change was that I was working 80 plus hours a week. And I had a traumatic accident that got me thinking. And I have since changed my life. And now I work with other people to help them change their lives. And first of all, discover that they're in burnout, what that means to them, and how to move through it. So I'm really excited because Meenakshi and Tiffany and I all have different stories that led to the same kind of burnout. And I think it's going to be really eye-opening for our attendees to see how it can manifest in different ways, how it can show up for different people in different ways. and yet how there are common threads and common ways to overcome burnout and really find joy and passion and excitement and balance in our lives.
That is so amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And what we've also heard is that there is this recognition, and so how some of us didn't even recognize it. And I forget who it was. I feel like it was Lakshmi, when we were talking about humanity and sustainability. And I love this embrace, not chase. Embrace is my intentional impact word for this year, even though I don't usually do those. But and Janifer, I know that you've shared this before too, and you were the one who I learned from, I'm not finding joy in what I'm doing in this particular moment. I would have no idea that could be an indicator of burnout. And now I know. And so we all know this, and we've been sharing just a glimpse of what that could look like, and we'll share more in the conference. But just thank you all for sharing those highlights for folks who even right now are like, oh, maybe this is a thing, so that we can recognize it, to be able to prevent it and to navigate and recover from it. So thanks for all of your highlights of your impact to the conference, what you're excited about. And I'll turn it over to Meenakshi, but I'm super grateful for you all.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And, as we begin to wrap up our conversation for today, we just wanted to share a little bit more some of the details of the conference. I'm going to bring up some information here. So again, the theme of our conference is Burnout, the Silent Pandemic, Creating Sustainable Recovery by Embracing Equity. It's happening on Wednesday, March 15th, so 12 days from today. And it's a half-a-day event, and it's from 11 to 4 New York time. And we are hoping that since it's a virtual event, that wherever you are able to join us. And registrations are still open. And we also want to take this moment to thank all of our sponsors. And our main event sponsor is Real Work Done, which is a consultancy. Brandy Olson, our keynote speaker, is the founder and CEO, Chief Learning Officer, actually, of Real Work Done. And she's also the author of the book, Real Flow, which talks about breaking the burnout cycle in the new world of work. And so her keynote is going to focus on several of the things that all of us have touched upon. And it's really about what is it that we can do, what are the different ways in which we can create, or at least start thinking about creating burnout-free ecosystems. So it's the organizational viewpoint funneling down all the way to the individual viewpoint. So that's, those of you that know Brandy or have read her book or have heard her talk on one of our channels, you will know how brilliant she is and the amount of research that she's done. She's an educator at heart as well. So it's going to be fantastic. And we are very grateful for her consultancy, Real Work Done, for the main event sponsorship. And all of you as speakers, and several of you are independent business owners, and you have gracefully not only accepted our invitation to be speakers, but we honor you as our session sponsors, because without you and your time, none of this would be possible. So we're so grateful for that. I wanted to call out a couple of folks. We have a couple of surprises lined up for all the attendees. One involves tech and one involves visual art. And so that's Silly Strokes, Tanvi Agarwal. She's based in India, a woman-owned solopreneur, a woman-owned business solopreneur. And what she does is live graphic reporting. So she'll be present for at least the first half of the conference with us. And these are all our partners that are helping us spread the word about the conference. And it's just been fantastic. And this is something that we've never had. This is the first year we've had such intentional promotional partnerships, and we are very grateful for that. And most of them are individuals, solopreneurs or woman-owned businesses, and folks that are like-minded, that believe in the mission and that are supporting us. And these are our partners. Our event is hosted on uvcity.com, which is a comprehensive hosting platform. It is integrated with Zoom in the back end, and it's a one-stop shop for anyone that registers, because all those who register will have direct access to the session recordings right through Ubicity. So it's all done right there, and folks can connect on Ubicity. It's like LinkedIn from a educational, it's an ed tech platform really. And we've had the pleasure of partnering with them since the first time I did the conference back in 2020. They are a small business, and they're located in Northern Virginia, which is where I live. And then I've had the pleasure of meeting them in person as well, the co-founders. And then Tanvi, we just talked about, so she'll join us from India, and she'll be giving us the gift of a live visual representation of several of the talks. And we are particularly pleased to also have Yerbo join us as our tech partner. For those of you that have not heard of Yerbo, the co-founders Marcos and Francisco, we just met them recently. Again, via LinkedIn. So Yerbo is the technology behind the State of the Burnout in Tech 2022. That's one of their core assessments and reports, studies that came out. But then they have a lot of other tech-based offerings in this space. So they have so graciously offered their burnout index as something that we can do live during the conference. So not only will each attendee get their own burnout index, if you will, live on their devices, we'll also be able to project that on the screen as to what the group feels at that point in time. And it's all completely anonymized, completely aggregated. So they have been very gracious to offer that to us. So that'll be a part of our conference as well. And we're very excited about it because, and personally for me, I always talk about the intersection of people, process, and technology. This is one of the most beautiful ways that would come together. So we're very excited about that. And this is all of us. So this is what the whole conference is going to look like. So we're going to start off with with Angela helping us get set up, feel grounded, and then we're going to have the keynote from Brandy, and then as part of that, rolled up into that, we'll do the Burnout Index sponsored by Yerbo, and then we'll get into our panel discussion. And Angela is going to weave in and out of all of our sessions. So that's the beauty of it. So we're really taking this opportunity to role model what as individuals we can do when we are faced with our back-to-back meeting-filled days, that it is possible to take care of ourselves throughout the day. And that's exactly what Angela is going to help us model. And then we have Janifer's workshop, and we'll do the fireside chat, and then we'll close out with Hit Refresh. So that's the plan. And we're going to provide plenty of opportunities for people to connect with one another. And also we'll be constantly checking in with the attendees on how they're feeling throughout the conference, and obviously the feedback for us, so that we can come back with something even more meaningful next year. So that's what's on tap on the 15th. So we invite you to join us from wherever you are. You can scan the QR code right now and sign up for the conference. It's on March 15th, Wednesday, March 15th, from 11 to 4 New York time. Now we'll pause at that. Tiffany, what else would you like to add?
Oh my gosh, I'm speechless over here. That rarely happens. I'm just literally just sitting in just like purpose and meaning, and this is community. So grateful for all of you for spending your time today, for what you've prepared as we approach conference, all the excitement that's going to happen at conference and even after, because you've all poured into each of us and to each other, and we truly appreciate that. We appreciate all of our sponsors, whether they're promotional or they're in, tech, or however you're supporting us, even if you're quietly or loudly cheering us on. We really, really just appreciate that. Meenakshi, I'm so grateful for you and our deep friendship, partnership, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So if I can just control myself for the next 12 days, my excitement will be good. But really looking forward to this. And I guess that's all I have to say right now.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tiffany. And before we close out the conversation, we'd love to invite any of you to share your parting thoughts for today before we get into the conference in 12 days.
I would just love to share that this is a really unique conference. There are not a lot of conferences that have space in them, that have mindfulness as part of the programming, and that are so reasonably priced and give you the opportunity to not spend 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. in conference sessions and still be chock full of so much good information. So I hope this conference hits the 150 max like that. And I know that whoever comes to this is going to get so much value from it.
So appreciate that, Lauren. Thank you.
I want to say yes, and that if I may, to say I think I totally, I feel the same way. I think there's going to be a lot of great strategies that people can take back into their day-to-day, which is what is really exciting. I'm excited to learn all of it. So I think that's the most powerful thing, because we talk a lot about this, right? But how can we make it accessible? How can we demonstrate it? How can we let them experience it? That it is simple to navigate if we just take the time and if we acknowledge it, right? So how do we put it into action? So that's really what I'm looking forward to seeing. And I hope that everyone takes that away.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lakshmi.
I love that. And thinking back to my last experience at the conference, you're going to love the energy, not just from the speakers and the panelists, but from the environment there, even online and throughout the entire event. The engagement that's there, the focus on energy. And you might actually hear something about energy management as being relevant to this topic. I don't know, maybe that will come up. And I think that's a big part of it too, as a tool to help yourself in the awareness that you might expand through focusing on your energy management. So thanks again, Meenakshi and Tiffany, and for all my fellow speakers. Great to be with you today.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, everyone. All right. Are we good to close? Anyone else? Any final parting thoughts before we wrap up?
I think the only thing I would close with, I think everybody's shared some wonderful reflections, is it's very human-centered. I think that's important. And I think, I attend a lot of conferences and speak at a lot of things as well. And, you're sharing about subject matter expertise and different things. This is a very sort of human-focused, and, most of us are clearly in the business and space of trying to humanize our workplaces and make sure that we're deriving meaning from things. And like Brian said earlier on, he used the wonderful phrase of self-leadership. I really like that, because a lot of what I'm trying to do as well is encourage people to exercise, compassion for themselves and take the time to make sure that they understand who they are and listen to the signals and the signs. And I think all of that came through today. So yeah, very excited about what we're going to be covering and looking forward to learning from everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you, Satpal. And something that I failed to mention before, and what you said brought that up for me. Yes, we call this an International Women's Day event, but I want to call out a couple of things. We both, and I'm going to speak on everybody's behalf here, believe that these conversations are not just meant for one day. I would love for a day when we don't have to have these commemorative days and months, when all of these become normalized and become part of every day. And two, we bring that intentionality in the way we design our conference. We always make sure that we bring in allies, we have male speakers and panelists, and that we do. And the other piece is, this time, our technology partners, they're business owners themselves and male co-founders. As much as I don't like calling out gender per se, but I want to make a point here, and that's why I'm calling that out, is that we have to very quickly take very meaningful actions around bringing everyone together and having conversations with our allies and with them, whoever the them is, right? So if all of these international Women's Day related activities or Women's History Month in the US, those types of activities, there's a lot of chatter. And then I don't know what happens come April, May, June, right? So we want to change that narrative. So even though this is tied to that, we are hosting it on the 15th, the week exactly after International Women's Day, so that all that fever has kind of gone and we actually do something meaningful. And two, in the way we bring the panelists and speakers together. So that is also very important to us, and I wanted to call that out. And so this conference is not just for women, it is actually for anyone that is engaged in the knowledge economy, in these ever-evolving ways of working, that may or may not have caregiving responsibilities, leaders at all levels. Oh, and how could we forget, Tiffany, the HR stuff, the SHRM stuff.
I was just going to say that I'm so proud of us. We just keep leveling up. Of course, we couldn't do this without speakers and sponsors and our cheerleaders. But at the same time, this year, we're really excited because we were able to get 4.25 SHRM recertification credits for y'all HR folks. Shout out to HR. And so that is another bonus of attending this. And do you want to share about quickly your I Am Remarkable?
Oh, that's right. Yes, I totally forgot. So everyone that attends the conference, you will have an open invitation to my forthcoming I Am Remarkable workshop, which is about normalizing self-promotion at the workplace, which is a Google initiative, and I'm a certified I Am Remarkable workshop facilitator. So I'll be hosting one in May, and everyone that attends the conference will have an open invitation. And I'll actually set that up in Unicity so people can sign up right during the conference. So that's the other thing. And so, so we are very excited about everything that's on offer, and we hope you'll join us Wednesday, March 15th, 11 to 4. Thank you all. Thank you so much. And our hope is that we are all able to find unique, authentic ways in which we can embrace equity and start working towards a burnout-free world. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Let's do that.
Take care and be well.
Bye.
See you. Bye.